To all of those who haven't grown sick of my reactions yet, this is Rebel Flag. That was a really cool introduction already. I mean, what I kind of hear right off the bat, it kind of reminds me of Castlevania a bit, and it doesn't really surprise me either. I think the influence of Castlevania, the game series, is pretty strong in this segment of music in Japan, I would say. I mean, the games in general have a lot of these neoclassical rock and metal soundtracks, and I know a lot of bands who take a bit of inspiration by that, I guess. This intro sounded kind of like we're moving into a dark place, but it's not a chaotic dark place. It sounded orderly and elegant. Kind of had a feeling of, for example, a grand dark castle, or maybe the capital of the dark forces, and we're moving into that. This was followed by its pretty sick sounding segment where Yamabe's vocals started, and it had this beautiful instrumental in the background. I think with the piano played, and there was a clean guitar sound, and there might have been strings present as well. It had this really romantic, melancholic vibe. I kind of envision like being in this dark castle, and somewhere hidden in there is a garden with roses or something. Kind of has a bit of that distinction. But there's anger in his voice. I mean, it develops a bit, right? It has this soft, melancholic, beautiful instrumental here, but there's anger in his voice, and it's towering up leading into the next part. There's an organ in the background. Ending off with that scream here. Really cool, really cool. I like that. After that melancholic part, they introduced some friction with the harpsichord, which also increased like in the second iteration when the arpeggios hit double time. It added some kind of confrontational element. We're confronting something, and then we hit this chorus with the organ in the background. I think that was the thing that mainly stood out to me. It had this battle of faith kind of vibe, right? Somehow the theme of faith is touched on here in this, which also would fit into the Castlevania theme in general, because it has those gothic, but also like Christian-inspired themes. But then on the other hand, it has this battle against demons and stuff. It's a really cool aesthetic. That sounded really sick as well. They just had this violin playing, this really sad violin playing, right? And also, I don't know if that was in the first verse as well, but the guitar riff they played here, it was kind of, I don't know, it felt like it was kind of bumping around. Circling, bumping around. Had a kind of restless feeling. Like, I don't have a strong foothold here. I'm kind of a bit thrown around here. We just feel the computer. See the part of the warrior. That's so sick. Whoa, that was a really cool solo. Okay. I don't even know where to start. It started, I think, in this kind of hymn-like, anthem-like manner. I don't even know what the term for that is. It had this formal but also kind of quirky anthem-like manner. Brought in some kind of prideful element here. Then it moved on into a section where they had this really cool lick they played. I think first by the guitar. You hear that lick? It kind of jumped around from side to side. It also, it had a bit of this element of the riff they had in the second verse, but it was a bit stronger. It really felt like, do you know that DVD screensaver meme where that DVD logo just jumps around, bumping from all the edges of the screen? It kind of sounded like that. Actually, they're continuing this kind of lick here, but with the guitar and synth playing in unison. That's really cool. It takes this formal structure of the anthem they played before and just scatters it into... It's just taking it apart. That's really interesting. Here, I want to stop here. Here, it had shortly had this kind of feeling of resolving somehow. It moved towards resolving that tension they had introduced, but then this absolutely sick part where they just play these. That was absolutely bonkers. I really like that because also of the implications the story will led through here. There's this kind of quirky formal element and they just pulling it apart, and then there seems to be some resolve, and then they just completely destroying everything in complete utter chaos. That's cool. Violently. I liked how the guitar came in here in short bursts. It was like an electric shock, like the flickering of a lamp before it fully turns on, like zzz, zzz, zzz. dramatic. Wow. That outro was also pretty cool. I think it kind of reintroduced this Dark Forces theme I outlined in the beginning, but it was a bit more optimistic. It had kind of this element of, okay, now we're moving ahead into the battle. I think that was a pretty fun song. Also pretty cool musical journey. That was really awesome. I mean, now I would especially be interested in the lyrics, of course, so we're gonna look into them. I would be especially curious about the flag thing, because I know they like calling things flags, but I still don't know till this point if it's just a very vague metaphor for something, or if they just like the imagery of flags. Maybe we'll get some explanation here. In a hate you're crawling, on a road I'm going, searching for the safe of your mind, you just feel the confusion. I mean, we're having some themes introduced here, of course. Well, we had the road we were on before, the kind of metaphorical road out of darkness, searching for the safe of your mind. Maybe it was kind of reminiscent of this more romantic, melancholic part where he looked for some kind of safe space. You just feel the confusion, right? We had a lot of confusion, not completely throughout, of course. There were just some bits of confusion, and I really liked how they worked with that element here, because it was really, I'm trying to establish a structure, but it's constantly being pulled apart by something, and it's falling into chaos. I think they portrayed this really well here in that song on a purely musical basis. See the cloud of the people, they want a little warmth, the world of sadness that disturb you, it's just real, I can't take it anymore. That was actually one of the lyrics I understood from the song, and it sounded to me like he was singing crowd, and I'm not entirely sure. That's a kind of funny thing. Asian people, it's not that they can't say L or R, it's just, in Japan for example, it's L and R is basically the same letter. So if he sings crowd of the people, you can't really tell for sure if he actually is singing cloud or crowd. I mean, here it's cloud, which is a bit of more of a metaphoric thing. If you imagine a cloud, a big clump like of chaos, and this chaos consists of people, that's of course a bit of a stronger image than just saying a crowd of people. But still, we can't be sure here, although it might fulfill approximately the same function, so I think it doesn't matter all that much. I just think it's a cool image to imagine, like they're talking about a world of sadness, and I'm kind of envisioning just you have kind of souls of a lot of people in utter despair and sadness, and this is all channeled in one big cloud. It's a kind of strong image, I would say. Now I'm calling for you, why don't you answer for me? When I had touched you, your mind had turned to the stone. Now I'm calling for you, why don't you answer for me? Feel the end of the world. I don't know what's the truth, what's the right. That was the chorus, by the way. I mean, melodically, it hasn't been as strong as some of the other songs, but musically it had this kind of call and answer kind of structure. It sounded like, okay, he's singing a melody and he's inverting that melody in some kind of sense, and this is the answer, or the answer that doesn't come, for that matter. I mean, now I'm calling for you, why don't you answer for me? I think what I get from this here is they're facing somewhat the dark forces, or they're surrounded by darkness, right? And the shadows, they're trying to separate them from one another. They're trying to cut the human connection between them. You have the cloud of people who want a little warmth, right? I mean, this could mean a lot of things. But if you have a crowd or a cloud of people, there should be warmth, right? But there is none. That's actually a thing to consider here. I mean, you could also think this further and say, okay, it's the souls of people, it's the dead souls of people, or it's the souls that are sucked out of their bodies and they're cold and they want to get into their bodies again, which would be a kind of Castlevania-like theme, or maybe it's vampires or something, I don't know. But we don't have to go this far, right? It's just this paradox here. They're crowded, but they want a little warmth. I mean, to be honest, it could also just mean they are crowding, so they get a little warmth they want. I don't know. But all in all, the point is, they're in a place which is cold and sad. And I'm calling for you, why don't you answer for me? That's clearly a human separation element here. I'm calling, there is no answer. They're calling for a specific person. It's not they're calling into the void or something. They have a specific person in mind, but they don't get an answer. When I had touched you, your mind had turned to the stone, which is an even stronger line. I would say on a general level, that's not just power metal good, it's actually poetic good. When I had touched you, your mind had turned to the stone. I mean, you could envision on a pure fantasy basis, okay, he's cursed, he's touching someone and they're turning to stone. But if you just think what this actually means, I'm seeking connection to someone who's right there, but all I'm getting is kind of a statue. It's somewhat of a metaphor. I'm trying to talk to you, I'm trying to get to you, to build a connection, but I'm talking against the wall here. It's not possible to build a connection despite the other person being right in front of me. Has kind of that element for a bit. Feel the end of the world, I don't know what's the truth, what's the right. There is a world ending, that's the theme here. It's cold, there is darkness, there is sadness. I can't take it anymore and I have to feel the end of the world. Something has to end so a new dawn can arise. Without a warning, we face the truth. There's no mercy, the time has come. Searching for the safe of our mind, we just feel the confusion. First of all, it's just you feel the confusion, right? In the beginning, it's him alone, and this might be reflected through the anger in his voice, I don't know. But then it moves on to, okay, we face the truth, the time has come. This is the moment of truth. We just feel the confusion. That's an interesting thing because we had this element in the chorus, they can't reach out to one another, but there's still a lot of people straying around, being on this kind of odyssey through darkness. They're for themselves, but they're all trapped in this confusion. And this is kind of what connects them, right? They're all feeling this confusion in the shadows. See the cloud of the warriors. They want a little warmth. The world of sadness that disturb you. It's just real. I can't take it anymore. There's something about to explode. It's getting too much. I think this is pretty much the down point. We're at the darkest, we've reached the darkest place. But now we have the cloud of warriors. It's not just people, it's warriors who are there to fight. There's a development here. So, and then we just have a ton of repetition of this calling thing from the chorus. Which again implies that it's really important. We're lost in the shadows. All of us are left in the shadows and separated. But we're going through the same struggle. And we just have to face the absolute catastrophe. Because from there on, it can only get better. I think that's kind of the thing. If we were moving through a curve, it would go like down, and there's the lowest point, and hopefully we will see some betterment after that. But yeah, tell me how you liked the song or how shitty this reaction was, and hopefully we'll gather again for the next song. Bye!